Welcome on into the Five Stripes Countdown. Abe Gordon here live in the Kia Studios getting you set for Atlanta United as they hit the road one more time to take on Nashville SC in search of their first road win of the season. And up at Geodis Park right now is the birthday girl, Madison Cruz. Madison, happy birthday. How's Nashville treating you so far?
Pretty good. Thank you again. Appreciate it. You know, it was fun just getting to hang out. Got to go to a really, really nice pizza place downtown in Broadway as well. Had an espresso martini as well. That, what a way to bring in the birthday as well. And also, hopefully going to be bringing back 3 points to the A2 for the special day.
Well, that's what they're hoping to do, maybe give you a little gift there. But it's going to be tough for Atlanta United. This is a Nashville team that's got 10 wins at home this season. Only 1 loss, 3 draws. In the meantime, Atlanta United, of course, still looking for their first road win of the season. They played a, let's call it sleepy 0-0 draw against Toronto FC. And Nashville SC, they came off a 5-1 win against Orlando City. The injury report is brought to you by Emory Healthcare, the official team healthcare provider of Atlanta United. It remains the same. Matt Edwards with a hamstring, Latte Loth with a hamstring, and Jay Fortune with a foot injury are out. Maddie, before we get to the starting lineup, just your first initial thought on what it's going to take for Atlanta United to get a road victory tonight.
Listen, Nashville's a very good team. And, there's a reason that they're one of the top teams in the East right now and what they can do. You have Sam Surridge, who is right now leading the Golden Boot race. You have Hani Mukhtar. Them two finally getting the chance to connect on the field, that's dangerous. That's a lethal combination, and that's something Atlanta United's going to have to watch out for tonight. But here's the thing. One things that Nashville do well, they get into the attack as well. But also, too, they have a lot of weaknesses defensively too, and that gives the opportunity for Atlanta United to jump in as well, especially in transitions, utilizing the wide spaces to put in those crosses to also really engage the wingers as well.
And before we get to more specifics on the game, what have you seen from an Atlanta United fan base that maybe is traveling up there? Obviously, it's been a tough, long season, but this is one of the more favored road trips for Atlanta United fans, just an easy 4-hour drive up north.
Yeah, I know from Kennesaw at least, it was only like 3.5. It was a great drive for us coming up here yesterday. But, I've seen a couple, there's a little bit of red and black in the seats right now as fans are slowly making their way in. But, I also saw a couple fans walking around Broadway earlier today as well. Saw a couple of jerseys as well. So it's going to be an interesting crowd because it's going to be, I think, more of a split than people realize because of the short drive. And that's going to make for a really fun atmosphere in this derby.
Nashville's here to take home all 3 points. This is a team that is fighting for seeding, so Atlanta United can expect the best out of Nashville here in this one. And unfortunately, Maddie, that's kind of the discussion we have to have about Atlanta United is can they play spoiler for some of these teams down the stretch? And they're going to have a real opportunity to do so because there are a number of teams fighting for postseason seeding or fighting to get into the postseason left on the schedule. Again, what do we got? 7 games remaining here. 4 of them are away, including tonight, 3 of them at home, and there are a number of playoff teams. So it's not where Atlanta United wanted to be, but the role of spoiler is there for them to play.
And something spoilering is kind of what Atlanta United did very well last season, too. You look at the Inter Miami situation in the best of 3. You look at Montreal as well in that wild card matchup. You had a lot of matches as well, and now down the stretch, that's where you need to start kicking it into gear. We got to come into this one and, find the 3 points and find a way to spoil Nashville. Listen, Nashville's given up 32 goals this season. They have their moments defensively. If you can attack them in transition and you can get something going on the offense, then you'll be in good shape because then you'll be able to come back and compete in those moments. You already got the clean sheet against Toronto. Continue to build on that and come into this one and find something in the offense to also work well with what you have going on defensively too. That needs to be key here. And you know what? And it's one of those things too, you're playing spoiler. You got to come in too. Feed off of the energy of the derby as well. You're going to have a lot of home fans here too. Feed off of that energy a little bit.
I'm not going to lie here. I did not do the math myself, but I do believe that Atlanta United needs a win to stay alive in whatever playoff race we pretend them to still be involved in. But
basically, so from what I was told from the league, as well as Doug Robertson tweeted earlier this week too, Atlanta United needs a win. If they get a loss or a draw and the Red Bulls beat Columbus, then they are mathematically out of the playoffs. So it's one of those situations where you are also looking at the scoreboard, watching almost, and looking at that matchup against New York Red Bulls and Columbus, because basically, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you're hoping that Columbus can pull through and get the victory over New York as well, because that also is a big key to look at when you are looking at how the standings are going to look at the end of this one.
And that brings me to a comment we made post-game, myself and Mike Conti, a week ago, and that is that who cares what the end result is? I think you just need to be pushing for 3 points, especially when you get to 60, 65, 70, 75 minutes. And I use the term reckless. You can use the term brave or courageous, but I really want to see this team go for it. Didn't feel like they were fully committed to going for it against Toronto. I think obviously because Toronto wasn't overly interested in matching Atlanta and playing a game of soccer. Yeah. But I still want to see Atlanta United really go for it if they're in position. And if it costs them a draw, then so be it.
I agree with you. I think you're to a point now where you are looking at playoff. You are still having that in the back of your mind, because there is still a way you get out of this. You can come in here and get a win. But I think you have to go into this matchup wanting a win. It can't be if this team loses and we do this, then we're still in. No. You want to go in and you want the 3 points. You're hungry for the 3 points, and you want to battle and you want to fight for the 3 points here today against Nashville. That's what you want. You want to come in and give a really good performance, and you want to give a good show as well up against a really solid Nashville team, because, listen, they have weaknesses. We talked about it so many times before. They have abilities and they have ways where you can get behind, you can do it. They've only have one loss here at home. Let's make it 2 tonight.
We do have the starting lineup, so we're going to bring them your way, and then Maddie on the other side will get a little bit more in depth on them. It is, as you might expect based on the performance a week ago, Jaden Hibbert returning in goal for Atlanta United. Across the back line, Pedro Amador, Enea Mihai, Stian Gregerson, Ronald Hernandez. Bartosz Slisz in the midfield, and how about this? Steve Alzate getting his first start there in the midfield. Luke Brennan on the left, Alexei Moranchuk in the middle, Miguel Almiron wearing the armband on the right, and now fit enough and recovered from, I believe it was a calf injury if memory serves, Jamal Tiare gets the start up top. When we come back here on the Five Stripes Countdown, we will give some analysis on the starting 11. We'll also bring you Nashville's starting group as well. Madison Cruz up there at Geodis Park. Abe Gordon here back in Atlanta in the Kia Studios. The Five Stripes Countdown continues in 5 minutes. We'll hear from Ronnie Dyla on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Welcome back into the Five Stripes Countdown. Abe Gordon and Madison Cruz here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, getting you set for Atlanta United there at Geodis Park, where Maddie is to take on Nashville SC. Real quick, we'll bring you the Nashville starting 11 before resetting Atlanta United and giving some analysis there. They're going to run a 4-3-3 is Nashville. Joe Willis in net. Defense across the back, Josh Bauer, Jason Palacios, Walker Zimmerman, and Andy Nahar. In the midfield, Gaston Brugman, Patrick Yazbek, and Andy Moyle. And then up top, a dangerous trio, Hani Mukhtar, Sam Surridge, and Jacob Schaffelberg. Again, Atlanta United going with Jaden Hibbert in the back, Amador, Mihai, Gregerson, Hernandez across the back line, Alzate and Slisz in the defensive midfield, Brennan, Moranchuk, Almiron, and Tiare up top. Maddie, let's start with the newcomer to the starting lineup, Steve Alzate. Been a guy I've wanted to see in the midfield, see how he pairs with Bartosz Slisz. We get an opportunity to do that, see that tonight. What are you looking for number 7?
I really like that he gets the start as well. I've really loved what I've seen from him in the last couple of games he's checked into the match. I mean, I think he's going to do a really good job of helping the team get forward in this matchup, which is something that you need. You want to start getting some things going, getting some action happening over up top, and I think he can do that. He can also impact the game in the attacking half, which is what you needed. That balance between him and Bartosz Slisz is going to be really fun because they can flip between a 6 and an 8 when you need to. Alzate can step up. He can go forward to get the attack started. Bartosz Slisz can do the same thing, and then Alzate can hang back and help with the back line when things are needed too. It's going to be a really fun pairing to watch. I'm really excited to see what it comes up with here tonight against Nashville.
Also excited to see Tia back in the lineup. He has had some good run when starting, some good connection up there, so we'll see if he can continue that. And then Jaden Hibbert, once again, an opportunity to showcase what he's got. And Ronnie Dyla talked about the young goalkeeper and what he's seen from him so far.
I think he grew from where he was when we come in, and to now it's a big difference. And he's have a lot of more understanding of the game. He has presence when he's in the goal. He's playing with calmness. He's reading the game well. So and he, as I said, has conceded 2 goals in 3 games, and that's says something. So he gives something to the team for sure. And then it's about consistency. Can you do it over and over again?
Yeah, Maddie, this is a guy that's going to be challenged tonight. I would argue he was not challenged against Toronto FC. In my reading of the game, they had one legitimate chance, and he rose to the occasion. It was a save that required much of him, and he was there for it. This is a Nashville team, though, that's got 49 goals scored on the season, 4th most in the Eastern Conference. You talked about it, Sam Surridge, 20 goals, all on his own. Hani Mukhtar adds 14, 11 assists for Mukhtar. 10 assists from Nahar. This is a team that can put the ball in the back of the net. Hibbert needs to be big in this one tonight.
He's going to be huge. I mean, it's the one thing that we've talked about from seeing him with Atlanta United too as well, and just watching him develop as a goalkeeper. He has such a great backing with the goalkeeper crew in Brad Guzan and Josh Cohen. A lot of players that he can look to and can help. But it's one thing, too, that Jaden does really well. He's very good at those reaction stops. He's very, very solid. He's quick on his feet. He can help bring the ball forward. He can deliver those balls when needed. He's very quick. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, too, which is something you want to see. Stian Gregerson talked about it, too, this week, about him playing in goal and, having him be in the back of the post as well, and what he's seen from him, too. It's one thing to watch for as well, something that we noticed just from Atlanta United 2 matches. It's still something to be worked on as well as defending those set pieces. Some of those balls over the top can be a bit tricky at times, and that is what Nashville's going to do. So you got to make sure you're quick on it, make sure that you're ready to get things going as well. But it's going to be a big test for him against Nashville, but it's one that he's accustomed to and he's ready for.
Yeah, and again, I've mentioned this before. I think the good news is you're giving him these challenges, you're giving him these tests, and it's not the most pressure-packed because of your situation, your standing. And I think if he's going to – look, we certainly don't want him to make mistakes, but if he's going to make mistakes, it's in a match like this, in a season like this, in which you can kind of have some allowance for it as he learns, as he grows, and as he potentially takes the role of the number one moving forward. I want to go back to Tia Ray. There's been, obviously, before his injury setback and before Latte Loth had returned from his a while back, I really liked what I saw from Jamal Tia Ray. It felt like he was involved in the attack up there. Some good connection with Luke Brennan on the left. I'm excited to see those two work the connection, as well as Miggy, who's been improved in recent weeks.
And they're going to need to. You're going to have to find that connection immediately in this matchup against Nashville. That's the thing. You have to take advantage of your opportunities. Nashville's an interesting team. They can play very direct. They'll have the ball at times, but it's really in those transition moments where they will hurt you. That's something Atlanta has to watch out for. But it's the same thing the other way, too. When Atlanta is in transition and they have the ball, they got to break fast, and that's where you're going to need players like Luke Brennan, like Miguel Amaron, like Jamal Tia Ray to be in those scoring opportunities and be in those areas where they can make some magic happen. You also are going to be relying not only on them, but also Alexei Miranchuk, who has been on fire in the last couple of matches too. He's someone who can help get the attack going as well. Those are going to be the 4 people you need to look for, but you got to start finding things in the attacking half. That's what needs to happen, and you got to be quick, and you got to make sure you're finding those threatening chances.
Ronnie Dyla spoke earlier this week, Maddie, about Nashville and the challenge that they continually provide for Atlanta United.
It's a tough game. I think they're a good team. I saw that when we played them at home as well. I think we did a very good first half, especially then. So it's going to be a lot of the same things. that's going to be important for us. You know, we are chasing our first away win, so that's an important thing.
Yeah, a couple of things going back to that May 3rd match against Nashville at home in which United drew 1-1. I believe that was the first game in which they ran 5 across the back, if memory serves. Jay Fortune was our man of the match tonight. In that night, obviously not available, but sticking with 4 across the back, and that's how it's been recently. But they tried a couple new things against Nashville then, and we're going to see what they try maybe new against Nashville tonight. Again, Alzate, the most notable name that is a new addition to the starting 11. All right, when we come back here on the Five Stripes Countdown, Mike Connie and Jason Longshore are going to hop on mic. They're going to be joined by Jonathan Spector, International Player Recruitment and Development, the head of that for Atlanta United. When we come back right here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Welcome back into the Five Stripes Countdown. Abe Gordon here live in the Kia Studios, and we now head back to Geodis Park as Mike Connie and Jason Longshore sit down with Atlanta United head of International Player Recruitment and Development, Jonathan Spector.
Thanks, Abe. I'm glad Jonathan's in the booth because college football has been a little distracting today, so we need to refocus on what we're here to do our job for. I think this is the first time we have talked to you since the transfer window closed. So as someone who is in charge of scouting now for Atlanta United, what's your next step now that the window has closed? Do you pivot to a completely new list of guys that you're scouting? Do you continue to scout some of the players that maybe you had targeted in the last window, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So, I mean, obviously there were some targets that we were looking at that, you know, for whatever reason didn't come to fruition. And so we'll continue to track those players, monitor their progress. And then, of course, like we brought in some new players. We want to see how that looks within the team now and what the team dynamic looks like. And then we'll, you know, start planning for the next window already.
How much of a catch-up is there for you when you look around the league as well, and when you see moves that other teams made, and maybe that makes players that weren't expendable in the past, maybe possibly somebody who could come on your radar?
Yeah, I think that's something that we definitely look at as well. You know, we're looking at what players are going to be coming out of contract at the end of this year. Yeah. To your point, like we're always looking to see what trades are available, players' contract expiry dates, and seeing what opportunities there will be in that marketplace. So, yeah, that's definitely something that we take a look at as well.
Does the workload shift or increase now that some leagues overseas are starting to get going over really the last couple weeks?
Yeah, whether it shifts or not, I mean, we're always watching soccer, right? You know, and there's always games going on somewhere in the world, and so there's always markets that, you know, are maybe a little bit more attractive to us. You see where players are coming from into the MLS. But then we're also trying to look at, hey, what are some new markets that we can explore where there's some really good opportunities for us, right? You know, historically, when the club first started, there were a lot of players coming from South America. You know, we've shifted. We have some players that are coming from Europe now, and I think that shift is also a result of, as the league continues to grow and develop, more and more players want to come and want to play in the MLS.
How does the international game at the national team level affect some of that? You know, you're getting into a really busy time with European qualifying getting mostly underway now for the World Cup. South American is wrapping up, but you'll have African qualifying going on as well. How much do you look at national team play in that whole pyramid that you're looking at?
Yeah, it's a good question because some players aren't playing as much for their club team, and so seeing them at the national team level is an opportunity for us. The other side of it is, you know, some of the youth international tournaments, right? Obviously, we got the World Cup coming up, the under-20s, and so that's going to be something that's important for us to take a look at as well.
Let's talk about the youth game for a second, and I'm going to take it away from scouting and maybe talk more about some of our own players with Atlanta United, with Luke Brennan, Cooper Sanchez getting called into youth national team action. When you were playing and when you were in that age group, did you find you came back to your club a better player after spending even as little as 2 weeks with a youth national team like that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, most of my career was in England, right? And so it's a very specific way of playing over there. And then when I would come back, play with the U.S. team, playing against, maybe it was Mexico, maybe it was a Central or South American team, it's a very different game. And so I think you learn a lot from those experiences, and also playing on a different type of surface in a different environment. And those are all experiences that as a player you kind of put in your pocket, and you have that experience, and you'll come across that again in the future, and I think it's really, really valuable. The other thing is it was always such a big honor to represent your country, right? And so having that ability is something that I'm incredibly proud of, that I had that chance. And it certainly made me a better player for my club team then, and also vice versa, right? My club team made me better for the national team.
How important is it for the club that Cooper and Luke, two players who are going into World Cup years for them, are really close to making national teams and playing in World Cups? How much does that help the club in the long run?
I think it helps the players individually, right, as we just kind of touched on, and then in turn it helps the club, right? And those are two examples of players that, you know, are getting called into the national team for the U.S. We've had players now as well getting called into a lot of other teams, both full team and at the youth level. So great to see how successful our academy has been over this past 12 to 18 months, getting players into the national team as well.
Jason and I are looking forward to being a part of the Atlantic United's Academy dinner on Wednesday. We always look forward to that. It's a great way to kick off the Academy season, kind of unofficially, more in terms of kicking off the academic year for the Academy season. But it's got to be heartening at the club level to see, you know, the twos are playing very well right now, fighting for a playoff spot in MLS Next Pro. The age group teams have fared very well in their competitions. I guess it validates that the pipeline that exists right now inside the club is very robust.
It is, and I think we have to give a lot of credit to Javier Perez, our director of methodology, who's kind of running our academy. He's done a really good job with the coaches that are there in terms of helping them with kind of what methodology we want for the players, and then also in some of the player recruitment space. We brought in some really good players. Atlanta's a great market for soccer players, and we're getting good players in, and then we're helping them develop and grow as players and as humans. So, really special to see how well our academy has done over the past 12 months or so.
Jonathan, really appreciate you taking time to be with us as always here in the booth.
Thanks. Great being with you guys again.
Good to see you. Jonathan Spector, Atlanta United's Director of Scouting. I'm shortening his title a little bit because we're out of time, right, Abe?
That is, we'll always be a little bit lenient for you guys up there. No worries. But when we come back here on Five Stripes Countdown, because you guys are up there in the Central Time Zone, a number of games that kicked off at 7:30 already well underway. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Another goal just being scored a moment ago. We'll tell you who did it and in which game. Also, we'll preview a Big Leagues Cup title match coming up tomorrow as well. The Five Stripes Countdown continues. We'll welcome Madison Cruz back into the show in just a moment on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Welcome back in. Just about 25 minutes or so away from kickoff between Atlanta United and Nashville SC. Up there at Geodis Park, which is where Madison Cruz of Soccer Down Here is currently residing, getting ready for kickoff there. Maddie, we've got a couple of games underway already, including a pair of them with a scoreline. I want to start with one, though, that is currently scoreless. It is the Philadelphia Union and FC Cincinnati. This is number 1 and number 2 in the Eastern Conference, a potential conference final matchup here tonight.
Yeah, this one is very interesting. It's one where this is possibly what you're going to be seeing in the MLS playoffs. I mean, and the fact that it's scoreless right now, it's two really, really top teams as well. It's one that I have had circled, and I'm definitely going to be tuning in to this one as this one is happening, because it's one you have to look at, especially with how things are going with the playoffs too, and looking at what's happening.
Again, about 30 minutes in that one, you are scoreless. A couple where we do have some score lines. You've got Charlotte and New England. That one already a couple of goals. It is 1-1. Brant Bronico and Ignatius Garajo with the goal for New England there. It is tied 1-1. You also have DC United at NYCFC. Justin Hack with got a turnover and then slotted one home. So NYCFC up 1-0 in that one. Big battle for seeding going on also in New York. The Columbus Crew at the New York Red Bulls. It is number 7 versus number 9 in the Eastern Conference. Both teams desperately need 3 points to either stay or improve their seeding in this one, Maddie.
Just like Atlanta United needs 3 points as well. This is one of the matchups, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you're watching this one too, because this matchup can heavily impact Atlanta United. If Atlanta United takes matters in their own hands, which they need to get 3 points here tonight, but if they do not and they get a loss or a draw, all eyes are on that matchup, because if New York Red Bulls beats Columbus Crew, then Atlanta United is eliminated from the playoff race. So we're looking at that matchup. We're rooting for the Red Bulls. We're rooting for them as well. We're rooting for Columbus, We're rooting for them to get the 3 points on that night as well on the road. But that's something you're looking for. Atlanta United needs 3 points tonight to help seal their fate and help them get the jump in the playoff run.
And right now that one's scoreless, also scoreless, both north of the border. Montreal at Toronto FC. Kicking off alongside Atlanta United in just about 20 minutes or so, San Jose at Austin FC. Key matchup because of the standings in the Western Conference. Number 8 versus number 9. Home field advantage, play-in rounds, all sorts of things at stake when these two teams meet, Maddie.
Yeah, I love this matchup. This one's going to be really fun. Sorry, I got a little distracted because Santiago Pita just scored for Atlanta United 2 against Huntsville. Happening right now, actually, at Fifth Third Stadium. So a lot of Atlanta United action. No, this one's also really interesting with San Jose and Austin. I feel like San Jose has finally figured things out, and you're also looking at seeding, too, with Austin. Austin has been one that's been interesting this season in what they have been able to do on the field. It's a battle between number 8 and number 9. And San Jose, they've been looking pretty good, pretty hot so far.
Houston Dynamo at St. Louis City at 8:30. Colorado Rapids at Sporting Kansas City at 8:30. And the Portland Timbers at Minnesota United. Number 6 versus number 2 in the West there. And then kicking off tomorrow, number 1 versus number 5 in the West. It is San Diego FC and LAFC. But the big match tomorrow, Maddie, I think we're looking at is the Leagues Cup. Inter Miami beat Orlando City 3-1 midweek. Seattle Sounders beat the LA Galaxy 2-0 in the midweek. And so the championship match between Inter Miami and Seattle tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, Lumen Field in Seattle.
Yeah, it's really fun. I want to go back to that San Diego and LAFC matchup, because that one has a lot of implications. San Diego has already qualified for the playoffs. They are officially in. They've clinched it. It's a done deal. Done. LAFC is still searching, though. They're looking for seeding as well. And that's what you're searching for. And that's a really tough matchup, too. San Diego, it's Dreyer versus Sonny. I mean, I really have been loving seeing Sonny with LAFC. It's gotten me to tune into a lot of those games. I think he's a phenomenal player, and that matchup is going to be really interesting with the complications of everything going on there as well, and then Leagues Cup as well. You know, Inter Miami and Seattle is something I don't think I thought would be the end goal for the Leagues Cup, but I'm really excited for it. I always love the Leagues Cup. I think it's going to bring a lot of chaos, and who knows? Maybe we'll get another calling in from the stands moment with the cell phone, maybe. Who knows? Chaos can always happen in Leagues Cup.
Yeah, and this one's certainly a good setup for the Sounders. This one, again, being played at Lumen Field there in Seattle. Quick look at the standings, Eastern and Western Conference. Philly, the Union, right up front there with 54. Cincinnati right behind them with 52. And again, that is a matchup being played tonight. Nashville with 50, Charlotte and Orlando at 47, and Miami back there at 46. In the Western Conference, San Diego with 53, Minnesota with 50, Vancouver 49, Seattle 44, LAFC 41, and Portland with 38. All right, when we come back here on the Five Stripes Countdown, we'll get some tools to the match, Maddie's 3 keys in the match day mixtape as well. So keep it tuned right here. In 5 minutes, we continue the breakdown. Atlanta United at Geodis Park to take on Nashville SC right here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Welcome back in. Five Stripes Countdown. Final couple of minutes before we hand things off to Mike Connie, Jason Longshore for the call of the action. Atlanta United just a few hours north, Geodis Park in Nashville to take on Nashville SC. Time to get to the tools to the match, brought to you by the Home Depot. With more ways to help take on your home projects delivered right to your door, the Home Depot, how doers get more done. The way I view this, Maddie, is you got to keep it low scoring. Just Nashville is too potent, too dangerous to go up and down the field chance for chance with them. I say you try and keep it low scoring and then see what happens towards the end. This is an Atlanta United team that has been very good at finding points in the final 15, 20 minutes or stoppage time. And so that's what I'm looking for today. Let's find out what you're looking for with your 3 keys and the Matchday Mixtape.
Alrighty, I teased it on the SDH network, but finally it's time to bring it to the fold. This Matchday Mixtape is all country music. I mean, it has to be. We're in Broadway, Music City, here in Nashville, Tennessee. So let's go. Number 1 is Stand by Rascal Flatts. They performed in that free concert that was done in Broadway as well, but in this matchup against Toronto, you held up the clean sheet, and that's something that you have to build upon. It was a good defensive performance in that match and help finding more results. That's the first step. You get a really good defensive matchup under your belt, then you get to come in and you get to continue to build, especially offensively. You looked really good with Stian Gregerson and Anaya Mihai up there in that center back pairing, and you add Jaden to that as well. They will have to silence Sam Surridge, who is the leading Golden Boot race, as well as Hani Mukhtar. It's going to be a big challenge, but you ride on that clean sheet and continue to be sharp defensively, and you can stop Nashville's really strong attack. Number 2 is Kick Up the Dust by Luke Bryan. Atlanta only had six shots and 2 on target in that matchup against Toronto. In that last one up against Montreal, you had 7 or 8. You got to get back to that. You have to create more on the attack. Atlanta has to capitalize on the transition moments here against Nashville, because that's exactly what Nashville's going to do to Atlanta. When you get the ball, you want to be able to get forward, and when they get extended too, Atlanta needs to find spaces on the wings. You need to get Luke Brennan, you need to get Alexi Miranchuk, get Miguel Almiron, get Jamal TRA in those scoring opportunities. Nashville will get in the attack, but transition is when you will have the ball. Make those chances count. My last one, got to bring it back to good old Georgia as well. So my third one is Georgia Ways by Quavo, featuring Teddy Swims as well as Luke Bryan. This is a derby. Feed on the energy. I mean, something that Tristan Muyamba said in this week in training is, first of all, we have to win this game for us, for their pride. We know it's a local derby. We want to win and stay alive and try to keep going until the very end. Atlanta's done it before, and this is an opportunity to turn things around and get things moving in that direction. Stian also said it. It's a little bit extra, and you can feel it. With the amount of crowd that's coming in, there's so much red and black. There's so much yellow as well. Use that to your advantage. You need to win to keep your playoff hopes alive. Leave it all out there on the pitch. Fight until the very end and bring back 3 points to the A.
I know you mentioned Atlanta United wants to win for them, but I think they also need to win for you. Madison Cruz celebrating a birthday today, and there is no better gift than to be out in Nashville celebrating 3 points for the road squad, and certainly for Atlanta United, a team that has yet to find a road victory this season. I think, as you come down the stretch, as you look to play spoiler, as you fight your way and play out the string on this season, that's one of the things I think they're really focusing on. You want to build some confidence going into next season. You want to find a way to get a win on the road. Obviously, it's a difficult task because Nashville is so good, especially at home, Maddie.
They're very good at home. I mean, it's one of the reasons why they only have 1 loss on the season here at home. Atlanta's got to be the one to give it their second. They got to come out there, and they have to be who they are. It's one thing, too, you can't worry solely about what Nashville is going to do. You have to come in and you have to play your game. You have to do what you've been doing well. You got the clean sheet against Toronto. That's a good step. You have to be solid defensively in order to get things moving offensively. And now that you got that confidence now. Utilize that. Now you got to push forward. Now you got to find something on the offense. You got to get something going here. And you have Jamal TRA up top. He gives you something different. Luke Brennan has been on fire as well. Miguel Almiron has been connecting the pieces with Alexi Miranchuk as well as Ronald Hernandez on that right side. Utilize the space, utilize the wings, get some things going, and you're going to get 3 points tonight. And it's going to be a fun matchup here in the Derby. There's going to be a little friendly fire going on both sides as well.
Quick score update. DC United on the board against NYCFC. It's Pirani just before halftime in that one. Maddie, we've talked about it here a couple of times. This is a Nashville squad with the 4th most goals scored in the Eastern Conference, and it's led by Sam Surridge. It's led by Hani Mukhtar as well. If you were going to diagram how to slow down this offense, how to prevent them from rippling the back of the net, What would you suggest? Is it prevent play coming through the middle? Is it force it out wide? Is it counterattacks? Is it man marking? What do you look at Nashville? How do they create their opportunities and their goals?
Well, it's something I asked Ronnie Dyla this week in media. I asked him, how do you get 3 points against a team that has the likes of Hani Mukhtar as well as Sam Surridge? And they're a very direct, very intense team, and you got to deal with offensive marking that they're going to do. Balls over your head and run-ins in behind. One thing that I think Atlanta has to do, you got to stop the input. You got to stop the crosses that are going to be coming into the box. You have to stop that attack going forward. If you stop that, you're able to stop the fire before it spreads everywhere else, then you're going to be fine. That's what Atlanta has to do immediately. You do that and you take away their strength. But Atlanta also has to cause problems as well. They can't just stop the fire for Nashville and then not do anything on the other end. You have to be able to stop what they're doing, stop the fire, then be able to take the fire right back on the other side and try to find something in the attack. You have to have dominance on the pitch. Go out there, don't be afraid, and try some things. Get some things going in the offense. That's what you have to do. Stop Nashville, stop those crosses, stop those balls in from behind. You stop that, and you get some things going forward. That's going to be the key to success this match against Nashville.
I'll be back on the full-time report to break it all down, but very excited to see Steve Alzate in the midfield there with Bartosz Slić. It's something I've wanted to see and understood the hesitation there at the time. You got to get match fit and build up the minutes, and finally we are there in regards to Alzate. Looking forward to see what that defensive midfield pairing can do, and also, as we mentioned, Jamal Tiare back up top. I think him and Luke Brennan have combined. We've seen some improved performance from Miguel Almiron of recent, and so this is a team that's going to fight. And I mentioned it earlier in the show. Get reckless, get brave, get courageous, whatever term you want to use. Go for the full 3 points, and if it costs you a draw, so be it. You're looking for your first road win of the season. It's been elusive, and if it's going to come tonight, it's going to come against a team headed into the playoffs in Nashville SC. This has been the Five Stripes Countdown. We're just moments away from kickoff live from Geodis Park against Nashville. Coming up next, it's Mike Connie and Jason Longshore, the voices of Atlanta United, right here on 92.9 The Game. Atlanta United coverage continues here live in the Kia studios. It's Abe Gordon here with the full-time report. And 3 points are coming back to Atlanta. United takes out Nashville SC at Geodis Park. Their first victory on the road of the season. Just their fifth win overall this year. It's been a tough go the majority of the season. And a lot of times earlier in the year, you did not get a result, even though you put forth a performance worthy. Tonight, not the case. You find the game's only goal in the first half. Ronald Hernandez off of a Steven Alzate free kick heads it home. Later, looked like there was going to be an equalizer, ruled a handball correctly off of Nashville, and they never really threatened seriously again. And I guess to some extent they did, because Jaden Hibbert came up big time after time, his second consecutive clean sheet, and we'll certainly be talking about him in a couple of different ways throughout the course of the full-time report tonight. But a big win for Atlanta United. They do remain alive in terms of a race for the playoff. It still seems a little far-fetched in terms of needing help elsewhere, needing your own results to go the way they need to go, considering the schedule Atlanta United has. But tonight is about tonight, and it's about 3 points against one of the teams in the Eastern Conference that was trending towards the playoff, a team in Nashville SC that is one of the best home field advantages in all of MLS, and that was ruled irrelevant and null and void tonight, courtesy of Atlanta United. And for United fans who have dealt and stuck with this team through a frustrating year, a little bit of redemption tonight for a team that so badly needed it, for a fan base that so badly needed it. You heard it from Matty Cruz in the pregame show, from Mike and Jace and the Atlanta United fans who made the trip to Geodis Park up there, given something to celebrate, and double that for our own Madison Cruz, who's celebrating a birthday today with the full 3 points. Look at the numbers and stats. Statistical recap brought to you by Emory, the official team healthcare provider of Atlanta United. They certainly do not tell the whole story tonight. Possession in favor of Nashville, 57-43. Shots in favor of Nashville, 21-9. Shots on goal, 7-4 in favor of Nashville. And the XG also in favor of Nashville, 1.8 to 0.7. But ultimately, there's only one stat that matters: the final score and the points that are coming home with Atlanta United. It was 1-0. Why was it 1-0? I think you can directly tie that to our man of the match, Jaden Hibbert. I don't know what to say about some of the saves that he made today. He was challenged only once a week ago against Toronto. Many more difficulties tonight, but he comes up big time after time. He came up big against Surge. He came up big against Mukhtar and the rest of Nashville SC, and he has grown very quickly in front of our eyes into what appears to have a very bright future for Atlanta United. And so all 3 points for Atlanta United, and I am fascinated to hear what Ronnie Dyla is going to say tonight. We await the start of his post-match press conference, but boy, sometimes you can hear from Ronnie Dyla frustration, anger, and I don't know what we're going to hear from Ronnie Dyla. It's been such a while since we've been able to hear what could be a satisfied Ronnie Dyla. And again, I don't think this was a dominant performance by Atlanta United. It was very scary early on. I thought that Nashville was going to get on the scoreboard and never look back. In those first 10, 12 minutes, Atlanta United held strong and eventually found their way into it. Played the next 15 or 20 minutes even, and then eventually put one home of their own. Even towards the end, corner after corner near the end of the first half, corner after corner in the second half. I think at one point it may have been the final tally. It was 11 corners to Nashville to just 1 for Atlanta United. They may have actually added to that in stoppage time. But ultimately, Atlanta United found a way. And so you should be pretty happy with 3 points on the road against a playoff team. So I do await to hear what Ronnie Dyla has to say about this one. It's going to be a slightly different full-time report today than what we normally would have. I am alone here in studio. We are going to head back to Geodis Park. Madison Cruz and Jason Longshore are going to provide some analysis and post-match commentary of their own in a couple of minutes. We'll do that certainly after we hear from Ronnie Dyla and potentially after we hear from some of the players as well. But it was a really nice performance, and a couple of things we saw, and we talked about obviously Jaden Hibbert and the job that he's done. Again, man of the match tonight. It's his second straight man of the match. That also coincides with the fact that it is his second straight clean sheet for Atlanta United, both coming in MLS play. So very nice job from him. Steven Alzate gets his first start as a member of Atlanta United, provides the assist, provides 60-something. I didn't look exactly when he was subbed out, but quite a fair number of strong minutes defensively alongside Stian Gregerson before he gave way. I think you saw more from Jamal Tiare up top. I think you saw some good stuff from Miguel Almiron up top. And to no one's surprise, the two guys that have been the best for Atlanta United, in my opinion, all season, Bartek Sliš, Alexei Moranchuk were there again. And so it's a difficult Nashville squad. We talked about it. This is a team that's fourth in the Eastern Conference in goals scored. To hold them scoreless at home is quite the accomplishment. It is Atlanta United's 4th clean sheet of the season, but the first time they've actually taken more than just the 1 point. Mike Conley had mentioned it near the end of his broadcast. 3 straight scoreless draws on the previous clean sheet this season for Atlanta United. This time, it is a 1-0 win for the Five Stripes. And they're going to have a little bit of time to enjoy this, not just because it is a Labor Day weekend, but there's a small break coming up, and Atlanta United is not going to play again until they are back home against Columbus. Not next weekend, but September 13th on Saturday. Let's head back to Geodis Park. Ronnie Dyla is now speaking.
It's fantastic. We had 3-4 saves that really hold us into the game. You see the same diseases that we had earlier in the season, that we start unbelievable good. We are playing on a top level the first half an hour, and then we score, and then we suddenly have to defend for 60 minutes, and that's too much. But with the circumstances we had with so many draws and losses, then of course it's also a mental thing. So I think you can see a lot of relief around, and that's something we have to get away. We have to attack to win, and to have championship teams, you have to be comfortable being in the lead, and you have to be comfortable having the ball like we had in the first half an hour. But that happened so many times this year. We have players that also is just starting to get back from different things and or coming to the club. So fitness wise also we are not where we should be. But today we fight as a team. We have a compact, and we've organized, and we stood in it for 95 minutes, and that's a big improvement. But I've seen or said the whole time now, the last 7-8 games, that we are a different team than we were in the beginning. I see so much progress, but of course the results is the most important. But now we have played 9 games, I think, we have 6 draws. I lost and 2 losses and a win in the league. And we need to keep on working with the details that is making us defending better and also attacking better. That's the main part. And yeah, I see what I see, and I've been on this for 20 years, so I know that we're going somewhere.
Match seemed pretty tense, pretty frantic at times. You mentioned Jaden made several key saves. How was the team collectively able to keep their nerve, even as Nashville were just pouring it on?
Yeah, we were under pressure, but we were not opening up, and that's 2 different things. But as I said, the first half an hour, there was 1 team on the pitch, and I don't understand that we have to, that we are not coping. We go to do the lead, or if it's a physical thing, I don't know. It can be both, because I don't see any reasons. I think in the second half we are more tight on the sides, because the last 15 minutes we were giving up too much spaces and we're not tight enough. We won a lot of balls now in the second half, but we have to also punish them. So we get 2 and 3 goals, because there was opportunities to do. So it's a two-way thing. But now I'm happy to win. I'm happy for all the players, so that we stay together and then move forward from this place.
I want to ask you about Steven, getting 60 minutes out of him and what he brings to the team. How different do you see him able to make this midfield?
He has special qualities. He's a top player, so he's not fit yet. So that is the main thing. Now we have to use these weeks to get him where, I had him in his top shape for 3 years ago in Standard Liège. I know what he's able to do, but here we have got a player that is can be the best midfielder in the league. So it's now up to him, to us, to get him into that shape. Then he will affect the team unbelievable, because you see how he turns, how he plays forward, how he takes down the pressure. So it's just a start. He's a player that we're going to build a team around.
Any other questions for Ronnie?
Well, there you hear it. And a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of Ronnie. I thought maybe he'd be a little more upbeat, but I can understand why. You're always happy to have the result, right? You're always happy to get the 3 points, as compared to in other matches where you might have a strong performance and don't have much to show for it. But I also don't blame him. I thought there was some very good things. I also thought there was some problems. And the stats, again, don't tell the whole story. I did think that Nashville was the better team today. I think this is a game which you were rescued by Jaden Hibbert one or two separate times. I think this is a game where you really didn't create a ton of dangerous opportunities, but luckily one of the set pieces in which you did create, you were able to finish, and certainly you'll take the 3 points there. I will say this. You have put together Enea Mihai and Stian Gregerson as your center back pairing right now. You have also now seen Steven Alzate and Bartosz Slisz as a defensive midfield pairing. This is the first time you've seen those four together. It's a small sample size, 60 minutes or however long it was before they had to be subbed out. But for those four through the middle to control and keep Nashville off of the board ultimately, along with Hibbert behind them, that is some good news. That is a good sign. And these are two specific guys in Alzate and Mihai that you brought in over the transfer window to help shore up, to help lock down, to help control, to make it tougher to score on you. Because that was one of the biggest criticisms over the course of the season. It's too easy for people to score. And tonight was the first opportunity you saw, in my opinion, in full force, those four guys working as a unit, again, with Hibbert behind them, playing his role as well. And you hold off the MLS's leading scorer and one of the most potent offenses in general in Nashville SC and Sam Surridge. And it makes you start to wonder. Again, I don't think Atlanta United's making the playoffs. I just think you're too far back. I mean, we were talking earlier tonight. There was an opportunity. You drop this game, you're dead last. I don't think you're running into the playoffs. But if you're asking me for a reason for excitement over the final 6 games of this year, I think that's where you start. I think you start with your center backs, your defensive midfielders, and your goalkeeper. Because now, and again, it was the first time you saw them from the get-go with Alzate in the starting lineup, but I thought he's been very good when he's come on as a second-half sub in previous matches. Second straight strong performance from Jaden Hibbert. I have really liked what I've seen from Mihai. It's great to have Stian Gregerson finally back healthy and able to get out there. The pairings that we've seen in the defense and in the midfield are different. And if I'm looking for something to build these last 6 games, for something to take into the offseason and get excited about, that's where I'm starting. All right, we're going to take a break here on the full-time report. When we come back, we'll hear the game-winning goal from Ronald Hernandez that happened midway through the first half, but we'll take a listen back to the highlights and potentially checking in some further sound there from Geodis Park. It's Abe Gordon. The full-time report continues. Atlanta United wins 1-0 on the road. First road victory of the season right here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Welcome back in. Full-time report. Abe Gordon live in the Kia Studios here, Midtown Atlanta. And Atlanta United coming home with a 1-0 victory. 3 points taken from Geodis Park there in Nashville, SC. For over 20 years, Scana Energy has made it easy for Georgians to receive the best natural gas rates and excellent customer service. Call 877-467-2262 to sign up today. The highlight of tonight's match, the game-winning goal brought to you by Scana. It is Steven Alzate sending in a free kick that ends up off of the head of Ronald Hernandez.
Alzate to the left of the wall, Moranchuk to the right again. Action at the goal to our right. 24th minute. Alexei steps over. Alzate floats it to the back post. Header! Score! Ronald Hernandez! The Atlanta supporters shouting down the Nashville supporters. It's 1-0 to Atlanta United on a beautifully hit set piece by Steven Alzate.
Man, it's been a while for Ronald Hernandez, and it's nice for Steven Alzate to get his first start and immediately have this sort of impact. We're actually waiting for Ronald Hernandez to take to the post-match podium as well and follow up Ronnie Dylas comments with a few of his own. But a really important performance from both of them. And Hernandez getting the start on the right back there with Pedro Amador returning to the left back side after his injury and recovery. And Hernandez is one of the guys you listen to Maddie and you listen to Jason or back when it was Jarrett. I mean, you talk about guys that are, about the crest, about the patch, about the club, and such an important goal for Atlanta United tonight to be able to take a lead, especially after some really, let's call it troubling moments early on, because it looked like Nashville had control of this game for the first 10 minutes. But Atlanta United did settle down, did figure it out, and then played even or maybe even a little bit better over the next 20 minutes, leading to the goal. And that was that. And so it does hold up, and it holds up in large part to Jaden Hibbert as well. And we only had the one highlight, but probably could have thrown a montage together of Hibbert saves. Again, he came out early on a Sam Surridge moment where he was in on goal essentially, but an aggressive play from Hibbert forces Surridge to take a shot from outside the box. He puts it off of the crossbar, rebounds directly to Hibbert, who bats it, and then eventually it gets cleared out. Also had an incredible trailing leg, maybe even nicked his arm save from a tight angle against Mukhtar. And you could see the frustration tonight on the face of Hani Mukhtar. It was one of those, I don't know what I got to do to get it by this guy sort of things. And I'll tell you what, for Atlanta United fans who have been with this team for a while, we have seen those performances against the club so many times. It has been a multitude of different goalies that have been able to provide that. But there have been those days where a guy stands on his head and you just don't know what it's going to take to actually get it by him. Tonight actually felt a little bit like that for Jaden Hibbert. Now, it wasn't quite the amount of saves, but it was the quality of 2 or 3 specific saves that I think really frustrated Nashville. And you look at Surridge, 5, 6, 7, 8 times out of 10, that's a goal he buries. You look at Mukhtar, he just didn't know how he didn't put one into the back of the net tonight. And so, again, he's our man of the match is Jaden Hibbert, but he was not alone in the significant performances in this one. It took everyone to come to a 1-0 victory against Nashville SC for Atlanta United. And look, I've had my fun with Atlanta United and the expectations and not having a road win this season. And I spoke a little bit about it last segment, and I just keep thinking and bringing it up. I do feel it was important for them to build some confidence, build some momentum, whatever it may be, into the offseason, into next season. And I know, again, because of what happened with New York Red Bulls tonight, you are still in it. Because you're 3 points, you are still in it in terms of you're not eliminated from playoff, but I also understand the likelihood of this team getting 3 point after 3 point after 3 point and getting what's needed elsewhere is still unlikely and tough to count on. So I'll take the first road win of the season, especially because it is against Nashville, a team that is viewed partially as a rival. And it's tough because Atlanta kind of just throws around a bunch of rivals, right? We got Orlando City. You got Charlotte in theory. There's Nashville. Somehow Red Bulls is involved there because of some of the history there. And so, this one feels like that rivalry as well. But separate of it being a rival, this is a good team in Nashville SC. This is a team right there in the middle of the standings in terms of the playoff seedings. And they are going to be going to the playoffs, and they have looked at times for stretches this year like the best team in the Eastern Conference. Not playing like that right now. I think they've lost 3 of their last 4 matches in MLS play, But certainly it is a quality opponent that you will take absolutely the 3 points on the road for your first road win of the season. All right, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we will hear Madison Cruz and Jason Longshore. They held a quick little powwow and shared some post-game thoughts. We'll listen to what they had to say on the other side. It is the Full-Time Report. Abe Gordon live in the Kia Studios on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. In just a moment, we'll hear from Madison Cruz and Jason Longshore. It's Abe Gordon back with you with the Full-Time Report. But tonight's goal scorer, Ronald Hernandez, is speaking to the media.
Happy. Yeah, it's being like work hard always pays off, and just living the moment, like very proud moment for me. But yeah, this continues.
The back lines come together so well as of late, 2 clean sheets in a row. Could you talk a little bit about Jaden and kind of how he's fitted into that as a young goalkeeper?
For me, every player, not only the back, just from back to front, we are playing finals. Even though we are far away from the playoff, but we are playing more than that behind. We are building something, and then if you really want to be here, you need to play every game like that. There is a lot of room to improve. Jada came in with fantastic behaviors and positive communication. I think he has seen Brad doing that. I think for what I see, is a good mentor for him. And nothing is about moments, like it's been feeling very good.
You say that you guys are building something. How much does it help to see the result like this for everybody?
A lot, especially against this team. Very tough, very tough. They play very good football, and they run a lot. And this club you can call it a team. So when you win against these opponents, it makes even better.
Nashville, of course, scored, but the goal was disallowed. And then in the second half, Surridge hit the crossbar. How was the team just able to keep its emotions in check and keep its nerve, even though it was under pressure from Nashville?
The top of the team, and I think the mentality just to keep going. I think in the second half we were it were some moments where we were a little bit off, but it's about picking up each other, and at the end of the day we put the effort in, and yeah, we got the luck on our side this time.
How gratifying is it for you? You mentioned building something here. How gratifying is it to have suffered lately with this team right now, but to see maybe that light at the end of the tunnel of what it can be?
Very nice. I think that's for me. Before I game, I told the guys, enjoy being away from home, enjoy in this environment. It feels like we are playing against the world. Enjoy that, and as long as we are together, we're gonna get through it. And I think everyone did it pretty well. I feel the guys got the message, and then of course we pick it up each other. It's about togetherness, and yeah, we needed game like that to gain confidence and keep forward building. It's a progression. Of course, if we look at the season all the way, it's been disappointing, but live in the moment and we go.
Excellent. Thank you.
There you hear from Ronald Hernandez, and a couple of interesting things that really stood out is just that it took everyone. You can focus on the defense and certainly holding that Nashville squad, off the scoreboard, holding a clean sheet there certainly points to a defensive performance, but it is some of those guys up top, and TRA was running all over the place. We saw him down defending quite a bit. Miggy is starting to defend quite a bit more as well. Luke Brennan's going to give you what he's got. And so a really strong performance front to back to front as Atlanta United picks up a 1-0 win. And as a proud partner of Atlanta United, Moe's would like to say congratulations on the well-earned victory. As promised, Atlanta United's one goal means tomorrow Moe's will be knocking $1 off all burritos and bowls. Atlanta, when we win, you win. So get to Moe's and enjoy the bold flavor of your victorious $1 off a burrito or bowl. In Nashville, since Moe's and Atlanta United and are such good sports, your team's welcome to take advantage of that delicious deal too. All right, when we come back here, Madison Cruz, Jason Longshore provide some analysis from Geodis Park. This is the full-time report on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Atlanta United with a second straight shutout, and this time it leads to a 1-0 victory, their first road win of the season, and they do so against Nashville SC. For every Atlanta United clean sheet, the team is going to donate $2,000 to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. With tonight's clean sheet, the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta will receive another $2,000. This year's donation total has doubled in the past 2 weeks. It currently stands at $8,000, courtesy of Atlanta United. Madison Cruz and Jason Longshore took some time to provide some analysis. We head back to Geodis Park.
Welcome back into the full-time report here on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Here at Geodis Park is myself, Madison Cruz, alongside Jason Longshore as Atlanta United defeats Nashville SC 1-0 to get their first road win of the 2025 season. I think for me, one thing to start off with and just be overwhelming everything as well, the performance tonight showcase what this team can do and the fight that this team has. I think defensively, it was one of the best performances of how gritty it has to be in those times where sometimes it's not pretty, but you get the job done and you get 3 points.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it over these past few weeks about Dyla ball and what Ronnie Dyla's personality he wants to see from the team, what kind of tactics he wants to see from the team, what kind of philosophy he wants to see from the team. And you got all of that tonight. He wants this team to be gritty. He wants them to be difficult to break down. He's talked about the way he wants them to defend. We saw that all over the field, not just in the back today, in the front. I mean, Cayman Togashi comes in off the bench and he's running down, chasing everything. He's pressing 3 people. Like you saw Jamal Tiare run himself into the ground, working hard. Miguel Almiron working hard defensively. Alexei Miranchuk working hard defensively. So it's not just one player doing it. It's not just the back line. But then the flip side is with the ball. You saw the back line be very good with the ball. You didn't see bad turnovers in their own half. They worked through Nashville's pressure, and they got into the attacking half, and they created opportunities. It's all of it. It's a collective. And I think early on this year, and I understand it when Latte Lot comes into the league, when Almiron comes back into the league, and you have talented players like Saba and others, you had a lot of players trying to show, hey, I'm good. I'm the guy. I can do things here. But it's about the collective. And I thought tonight was maybe the first time all season where you saw Ronnie Dyla's Atlanta United step to the fore and be about the, not even just 11, the 16 people who got on the field and got the job done.
I think it's something that we've talked about when we've talked on the SCH network with Atlanta United too. Jose Silva talked about it as well. You don't want to be a superhero in the match. It's 11 v 11. There's 11 men on the field, and you want to come on and you want to be a superhero. You want to come in and save the day. But there's 11 people out there. You got to work together to do that. And I think that's exactly what Atlanta United did. It wasn't about how can I help the team. It was how can we do this together. And that's what we saw against Nashville. They handled it really well, and they were able to come in and just absolutely, in my opinion, the stats might not show it. I believe at one point it was like 19 shots for Nashville. But any sort of stat will tell you, I think Atlanta United dominated this game. And I think they played Nashville and outplayed them on their own turf as well.
Yeah, they controlled the game as maybe more than Nashville did. I think Nashville at the end of the first half started to take control. They didn't get anything to show for it, but they took control. Atlanta controlled the majority of the game, and when they weren't in control, they weren't uncomfortable. And that's the thing that I think this team has struggled with all year long, is when they haven't had control, they haven't had possession, at times they haven't looked like they're comfortable in those moments. This team did, and I think a lot of that is Enea Mihai. Steven Gregerson was good tonight, but Enea Mihai, he brings something different in that back line. He's talking, he's organizing, he's making things make sure they stay secure. Like, it's a different presence with him. I mean, moments where, Mukhtar is falling down like he always does because he doesn't really have a grasp on gravity. and Micah is the one who's looking at him and saying, I'm not being demonstrative and crazy, just staring him down. Just like, what are you doing, man? Come on, let's play. I like what we see from Micah. And when we talked to Ronnie Deila when he was signed, it was kind of those things. It wasn't about I think he does give you a lot on the ball, but it was about he's a defender. He's a defender first. And he brings you that. He just makes this team feel different.
Yeah.
And I really think these additions in total make this team feel different.
Let's talk about two players that I think we had talked about, especially in debates with, the performances on the night. Obviously, Ronald Hernandez gets the goal tonight, leads the team to the 1-0 victory. It was a big week for him. He's back in the pool with Venezuela, as well as they're trying to make the push to the World Cup qualifying as well. Huge night for him. Huge week for Ronald Hernandez. And then Jaden Hibbert as well in between the posts. Great showing from two players that we've had the chance to get to know really well on Soccer Down Here with the twos, with everything else, covering their stories. And then Ronald Hernandez, just getting the chance to speak with him and knowing how much this club means to him and bleeding for the Crest.
Yeah, I want to start with Hibbert. I think he made some plays look easier than they were. And so much of it is the little things of being a goalkeeper that maybe he didn't have last year. And maybe he didn't have at the beginning of this year. He's so much better with his feet moving side to side. He gets himself into position so he doesn't have to make the superhero save. He can make the comfortable save. He did that well. He managed the game. Yeah, he got a yellow card for time wasting. Good. He needed to. Good. And then he handled everything after that. He came out for a cross, the big catch on Surridge. Those kinds of things we didn't see from him when he first got here. You got to give Lewis Sharp, you got to give Elliot Parrish a ton of credit for what they've done with Jaden Hibbert. And then Ronald. I mean, Ronald, I think it's obvious if you've listened to us over the years, he's one of our favorite guys who's ever worn the Atlanta United shirt. He talks so warmly about everything associated with Atlanta, with the club, every person at the training ground, that he's always talking about how much they allow him to do what he does. And right now, he's in great form. He's doing so well. He's playing well. He's turned the heads of the Venezuelan coaching staff. And these aren't just random games he's getting called in for. Venezuela right now is in the playoff spot. They have a chance if they win both and get some help, and they play Colombia in one of these. If Colombia drops points, Venezuela could automatically qualify by Tuesday, September 9th. They're bringing him in for the biggest two games in Venezuelan soccer history.
Yeah.
He got the call up back for that. You think that's not spurring him on right now? He gets the goal, and he looked like he was stunned for a second. I love to see good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And Ronald Hernandez is absolutely one of the best people that Atlanta United's ever had. I'm so happy for him getting the goal tonight, and big time rooting for him in Venezuela.
Yeah, well, we have to go down to chat with Ronnie Deila and a couple of players as well. Well, I also have to say, this is the best birthday gift ever. I have to say
not
that
too
personally.
shabby, huh?
Not too shabby for, a 23rd birthday here in Nashville. We're going to send it back up to the studio with Abe Gordon as he's going to give you the rest of the post game as we talk about Atlanta United defeating Nashville SC on the road 1-0 to get their first road win of the 2025 season. This is the Full-Time Report on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.
Welcome back in as we wrap up the Full-Time Report. Atlanta United, their first road win of the season, a 1-0 victory against Nashville SC. And now a little bit of an opportunity to enjoy the 3 points that they picked up tonight. They do not play again until they return home in 2 weeks' time. And one of those situations where maybe you'd prefer to get right back out there after a regular week because you're feeling good about the performance and the result, and you'd be back home. But there is a break coming before that, so they will not be playing soccer next week, but they will return to Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday, September 13th. There is some big games in the MLS tomorrow, or I guess not technically in MLS play, but Leagues Cup. There's a Leagues Cup final tomorrow night. There's also a third-place match, but we kind of just skipped over that because, come on. But Inter Miami at the Seattle Sounders tomorrow afternoon/evening, based off of where you might be listening to us on the Odyssey app. They are playing for the Leagues Cup trophy. And so we'll be tuned in to that one. At least I will be tuned into that one personally. Again, it is Ronald Hernandez's header off of a Steven Alzate free kick that gives Atlanta United the 3 points, their first road win of the season, and a little bit of momentum and a little bit of a good feeling moving forward into the final 6 games of the season. Atlanta United avoids the cellar in the Eastern Conference because of the victory, and they also avoid elimination not only because of their 3 points, but also because of a result between Red Bulls. And so they will continue to play on with 6 games remaining and just hold on to a glimmer of victory after victory and some other results working out in your favor that maybe something can take place. But in the meantime, I think you're looking more specifically at a very strong defensive performance for the second week in a row, both from your center back pairing of Anea Mihai and Stian Gregerson, but also of Jaden Hibbert. And one of the questions that certainly will remain is, what does the future hold for Brad Guzan? And is Hibbert your number one heading into next season? And you've got 6 matches left to figure that out. I don't have an answer for you, but I will say this. Jaden Hibbert is starting to make a really good case. I thought he had an outstanding save in the one good opportunity that Toronto had a week ago. And I thought he had at least 2 really high-quality moments in today's match. And again, one of them probably isn't technically given as a save. I don't believe he got a piece of it. But there was a moment where Serge was in on net and some aggression from Hibbert forced him to take an early shot. It goes off the crossbar. And then Mukhtar, again, later in the second half, honestly, I don't think Mukhtar understood how Hibbert was able to make the save in a tight angle close shot, and was quite surprised that he wasn't finding the corner flag to celebrate. Mukhtar frustrated tonight because of Atlanta United goalie Jaden Hibbert. How about that? And so Atlanta United will take a couple weeks or 1 week off before returning home to continue their march down the final stretch of the MLS season. That's going to do it for the Full-Time Report. Join us again 6:30 on Saturday, September 13th for our next broadcast. Atlanta United takes on another difficult squad, the Columbus Crew. Special thanks to Dom Churosky, our producer in studio. For Mike and Jason, the voices of Atlanta United, and to the birthday girl, Madison Cruz. Happy birthday there with Soccer Down here. I'm Abe Gordon. Once again, the final today, Atlanta United 1 and Nashville 0 on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game.